Welcome back to the Sunday Pulse, where we debate using formats that are honestly pretty confusing, but at least it's not extended series. Guys, we just finished first round of discussion where we talked about things on the wire, from things like Suppy, going to Korea, LGIM, and even Pro League, and even talking about StarCraft II being in the NHL. But now we're tossing aside the news headlines and going to speculate a little bit in the news segment that we like to call Blank My Life. Now, in this section, I'm going to be tossing out a scenario. I'm going to be posing a question. For example, I would say, Kevin, the best Zerg player in the world is?
Life.
Right. And then from there, I would say, well, and you have to explain. You would say, Life is, you know, this, he's just this. Ben, who is the best Zerg player in the world?
Hitman, clearly.
And then Ben would go on his tirade, and from there, you get points. And it's going to be really fun because we're going to have overarching topics and the things. Is that everything clear?
Everything's clear.
All right. So now it's time that we go into Blank My Life.
Blank My Life.
I think production is just starting to get why I called it that. The first topic we're going to talk about is GSL. GSL Group A happened this past week, where WCS Korea was able to merge with GSL, and Group A got started off with things with a bang, starting off with Roro versus Crazy, which was a 2-0 in favor of Roro, and then Bomber would defeat Creator, setting up a really awesome TVZ. David Kim was in attendance, as well as Apollo, and everyone was really excited to see how would GSL be able to level up their production, as well as level up the competitive play in this new expansion. Bomber and Roro went at it, but Bomber made a really interesting MMA mistake. He attacked his own command center at his natural and completely killed it. Roro did not leave the game. Instead, he charged forward and killed almost all of the Terran army, despite Bomber's best attempts to split. And Bomber would drop game number 1. Game number 2, Roro would be able to harass, but Bomber was able to attack and did an incredible reactionary split. Look at the way these Marines were able to get into formation and be able to dodge all of the Baneling attacks. Going to game number 3, Roro would not be denied, as he was able to land great fungals and control the map, despite Bomber taking early tempo pace throughout the series, and Roro was able to advance 2-1. Great series. That was my series of the night, and I am really excited for the games of GSL for this coming season. But I want to ask you guys as the first question, the quality of games in Code S and Group A has been blank. We'll start it off with you, Kev.
Acceptable.
Okay, acceptable. Explain that, Kev. You have 30 seconds.
Well, sorry, I thought I was just supposed to say one word, otherwise I would say more.
No.
I mean, obviously the game's been exciting, and GSL Code has extremely high level, but if I compare it to Pro League right now, I really feel that the Pro League guys are playing on a slightly higher level than what I've seen, but this is just one group, so you can't say too much, but I wasn't blown away by the play I saw on the first play day. Let's keep it at that. Wasn't bad, but also not like, oh my god, I can't sleep tonight, I'm so excited.
Okay, that's fair enough. Ben, the new UI that GSL showed off was blank.
Well, the word that comes to my mind is the same as Kevin's. It was acceptable. What I was more impressed with was the UI we saw in the GSTL, where they were using the custom map, the iHeart overlay, the GameHeart overlay, which allows them to zoom in and zoom out. And I thought that was actually pushing forward the production and our ability to watch the game and to appreciate it. Being able to zoom out of a big battle and just take in a little bit more of it really adds to the viewer experience, in my opinion.
I will watch OSL's casters over GSL casters if blank. Kevin.
If my FPS drops below 10.
I'm going to toss this also to Ben. I will watch OSL's casters over GSL casters if blank.
If Tastosis aren't working, I actually really like Doa and Monte Cristo. Monte Cristo has the sultriest voice ever. I could listen to him talk for ages. Wolf and Caldor are great. Tastosis are the best in the world. And Monte Cristo and Doa are very comparable to Wolf and Caldor. And I kind of enjoy listening to Doa and Monte Cristo a little more.
I was also saying it in regards of Tastosis. I mean, they are my #1 commentator duo in the world, and I would watch them over anyone else in the industry, so it is very hard to compete with those guys.
I will use my GOM TV refund for, and Kev, this goes to you, Blake.
I actually get a GOM TV refund because I did buy a ticket in the start of the season. So I'm going to Vegas this weekend with a road trip with the boys a couple of days. So I say I should use my 80 bucks and just put it all on 8 and see what happens. Those are 80 bucks I didn't expect to get back. So hey, now I have them. I'm going to put them all on 8. If 8 drops, I have a lot of money. I will host a nice little tournament. Home Story Cup Ben edition. I hope you're ready.
Ben, last question to you as well. I will use my GOM TV refund for blank.
For Age of Empires 2 HD, it was just re-released on Steam. I downloaded it this last week. They're still in like the pre-release stage, but it was my first RTS, one of my favorite games of all time, and I just want somebody to play with. So if you guys are playing Age of Empires 2 and you want to get some matches in, shoot me a tweet or something.
Yes, because I'm clearly not good enough competition.
I asked you to play with me.
Ben sends one skirmisher
I asked Dan
at like
to play
4
with me, and he
minutes.
just quit the game.
Ben proxies skirmishers.
It was not a proxy. It came at like 12 minutes. I walk across the map with a skirmisher. Dan just quits.
It was my first game.
And it wasn't like all right.
GG'd.
It wasn't like all right, GG. It was like to hell with this. I'm done. I want to learn about Joan of Arc, and then he went and played the campaign. So
good points all around. I'm gonna give Kev 75 for great answers, and I'm gonna give Ben 5 points for contesting my authority.
For calling a spade a spade.
Guys, our second topic is GSTL. These guys mentioned already a little bit as they kicked off this past couple of weeks. GSTL has been having lots of great matches, but the thing has capped it all off has been Axiom Acer versus LGIM. Scarlet beating MVP proves that blank. Ben.
Proves that Scarlet is the best North American StarCraft II player, and that some foreigners are still capable of beating top-level Koreans.
Ben, Scarlet beating MVP, or Kevin, sorry. Scarlet beating MVP proves that blank.
Scarlet still got it, man. I was a little bit worried after the IPL DICE event where I saw her play, and for the first time she didn't look as invincible, at least in foreign competition, as she used to do, because that tournament, Lucifron really took her apart and just like kind of demolished her in the finals 3-0. But this game was great, and yeah, it proves to me that Scarlet has still got it.
The most fun thing about GSTL thus far has been blank. Kev.
Sorry, I just had to turn the music off real quick. What did you say?
The most fun thing about GSTL thus far has been blank.
And the production, man. I really enjoy all those shots, seeing all those guys walk in the studio, seeing the fans there and stuff. I think that GSL does such a fantastic job in really like showing the fact that this is a team league. It's not just two guys one by one going head to each other. No, you really see like the whole team process of it, and that's the most fun fact for me.
Ben, what about you? The most fun thing about GSTL thus far has been blank.
The fun, flavorful content we're getting out of the Axiom Acer house. Watching the guys play with that stupid hammer and Bob sling the hammer, hit the guy on the head. I'm really having fun watching that and seeing some of these Korean personalities come out. I wish more teams would do that kind of stuff, create that kind of content, and it is all made possible by the GSTL.
The next team to get an all-kill will be blank. Ben, start off.
In GSTL, the next team to get an all-kill will be... I don't know, man. LGIM. It's such a boring answer, but they're so good.
It just seems like there's an all-kill every night. You can't predict who, but some of the upcoming matches: Prime versus StarTale, Azubu versus NS Hoso, StarTale versus Zubu. Any of those teams speak to you?
I gotta say that I'm an Azubu believer, so I would love to see one of those guys come out and clean up. But it's not gonna.
all killing StarTale.
I don't think it's gonna happen against. I don't think it's gonna happen against StarTale. I don't think it's gonna happen against StarTale.
All right, Kev. Who's going to get the next all-kill?
Probably StarTale.
I completely agree, too. I think StarTale has definitely got it in them. The last question about GSTL is compared to Pro League. The amount I care about GSTL is blank. Start off with you, Kev.
On a scale of 1 to 10?
Any scale you want.
I mean, I definitely care. I definitely find it super fun to watch, and it's really cool to see the Axiom Acer guys. Axiom Acer, they really make it even more exciting, and it's fun to watch all our GSL champions go at it. But I personally enjoy Pro League a little bit more. I don't know why, but I really feel that those guys are perhaps just slightly better, man. Like I really like those guys, like the reigns and the innovations. They took me by storm, man. Right now, whenever I'm watching a team league and I cannot see those guys, I'm just like, yeah, this is all awesome, but I'm missing something. So I'm really enjoying GSL. They're doing a fantastic job, but I'm enjoying Pro League a little bit more.
Love the pun. That reign took you by storm. Ben, what about you?
Did it for you, Dan.
Compared to Pro League. Thank you, Kev. The amount I care about GSTL is blank.
Far, far less than the amount I care about the Pro League.
They don't have.
And it's not a Hitman reference. It's the fact that we know for a fact that the Kespa teams, they live and die by the Pro League. This is why they play the game. So I love watching people play for their lives. And I don't feel like we get that in the GSTL. The GSTL is a bunch of players that excel in individual leagues, that practice together, that, in my opinion, don't work is hard for the team leagues, and maybe that's a terrible thing to say, and maybe it's a terribly uninformed thing for me to say, but you know, and you can see it in the amount of preparation and reflected in the gameplay. When the Pro League happens, those guys have been working on that strategy for a long time. That is something that they tailor-made for that day. And I don't get that impression when I watch the GSTL.
I think GSL is a great platform for people to prove themselves, but for the established players, you can definitely see that they need to save those builds for GSL if they want to advance forward. Couldn't agree more. Well said, Ben. So that's going to bring us to our next section. We're going to talk about maps, because with all these new HOTS Pro League teams and GSTLs, there's lots of new maps introduced into the map pool, like Red City, as well as Newkirk, Redevelopment Precinct, even the retaken version of Whirlwind with all its production value. Guys, I'm going to ask you some fun questions about maps, starting with this. The worst map in any current tournament rotation is blank. Ben.
Definitely Daybreak, and it's not because Daybreak's a bad map. It's just because it's an old map. I'm so tired of seeing the same thing on Daybreak. Now, granted, HOTS has breathed a lot of life into the metagame, and players are trying new things. But for the love of God, get rid of these old crappy maps. Show us some new stuff. Again, I have to applaud the Pro League. I do think the maps are a big reason why these games are so exciting and so fun to watch. So out with the old, in with the new is what I say.
Kev, do you have another worst map in any current tournament rotation contestant?
I mean, I agree regarding the old maps, but of all the new maps that are currently being played, I really dislike Newkirk City. Sure, it's always fun when we see 1 or 2 45-minute games of TBZ, and we think like, hey, this is pretty awesome, this is epic, man, you have to watch this game. But if you see it 6, 7, 8 times already in a 3-week time period, you're gonna get really bored out of it. And we live with Fuser, one of the highest ranked North American temp players right now. Almost every day he has one of those games, and his logic literally is around the 52-minute mark. He has no more gas.
All I do is see.
And then we watch the replay, and he's like playing with 6 APM, literally like rubbing his belly.
He's got Cheetos in one hand and his mouse in the other.
And we're not even really exaggerating, guys. This is the highest level of Grandmaster League play on NA, and he's just sitting laid back eating chips.
All right.
He will have no more gas soon. It's like, yeah, I don't really enjoy that map.
The best map. Let's
so
insert.
right. I didn't even think about that. You're so right.
That's
that
really
map is terrible.
The best map in any current tournament rotation is blank. Kev.
I don't have a particular favorite yet, but I don't even know the names of the maps that I saw last night, but I really love what I saw in Pro League, man. I was like, oh my god, the map designs is cool. They created action-packed games of the maps that I'm familiar with. I personally enjoy maps on Belshire for some reason, not because I'm particularly good at it, but for some reason they often provide really entertaining games.
I think Belshire is a superior version to Daybreak just because of the way expansions work. Ben, what is the best map in your opinion in any tournament current rotation?
It's Korhal Floating City right now, and it's not because of Hitman. Stop laughing. Every time you look at me, I know you think Hitman.
I feel like it is.
I know you think Hitman, but that is just, I don't know if it's a balanced map. I don't know if it's going to lead to a lot of epic games, but the things that the map makers are trying, and I guess the ingenuity that we're seeing there, the fact that you can lock yourself into 2 base creates some incredibly interesting situations, and it was very reflected in that Hitman game, and I hope that we get to see a lot more really cool games like it. It's a well-made, cool map, and Kevin and I were just laughing about it because he's like, oh, did he just lock himself in with the rocks? That's so cool. But it was awesome. Was it not awesome?
It was awesome.
It was so awesome. So I love seeing that kind of stuff, and I want these map makers to continue to push the envelope and to try new ideas so that we can continue to see these crazy plays.
No, I completely agree. I think one of the things I love most about Korhal Floating Island is that you can have 2 completely spawned positions as well. One where you're expanding in like a triangular formation like Cloud Kingdom, and one where you're expanding really far away but you have those double rocks. 2 completely different game possibilities based off it, and it allows you to really prepare cool strategies. We're going to keep talking about maps. This next one, I miss playing on blank. We'll start out with you, Kev. I almost know exactly what you're going to say.
Crevasse, of course.
God, you're so dumb.
Such a good map.
You never even played on Crevasse.
I did play on Crevasse.
One map.
We played on Crevasse.
Crevasse is terrible.
We played reverse race on Crevasse, live on air, and the grass is always greener.
And you lost to DTs.
Yeah, the one time thing. Cool map. Cool map. I miss it.
Such a bad map.
Ben, I miss playing on blank.
Desert Oasis. If people think back to Desert Oasis, crazy map, and it was so bizarre. And if you talk about novel, new, cool map ideas, Desert Oasis creates some ideas worth revisiting. Now, the 3rd expansion or was it the second expansion? The
It
natural
was the
expansion.
main- it was the
It was
natural
so
expansion.
far away, and that might be something that you might want to address. But that was a very cool map. You're far away by ground. You're very close by air. You've got islands. I love islands. I think it's something that we need to have. Maybe not 2 islands, maybe not an island on either side, but like an island maybe in the middle. Those are things that I would like to see rehashed. In Desert Oasis, I would love to see reintroduced.
The coolest map feature that hasn't been done yet is blank. Tossing it back to you, Ben.
Neutral spell abilities, and this is something that we saw a lot of in Brood War. I don't know if it ever happened in Warcraft 3, but we have units like the Viper now, which have Blinding Cloud, and you can just stick a Blinding Cloud in the middle of the map, and all of a sudden you have a crazy sort of focal point to fight around. So it's something that made for some exciting games in Brood War, and I would love to see it reintroduced in StarCraft II.
Kev, the coolest map feature that hasn't been done yet or implemented is blank.
What I really liked, and then I'll go back to the old days of Red Alert, is like you, for instance, had bridges.
Well,
and
you're
those
going way back.
Yeah. This is where it all started, my RTS career. What I really loved about Red Alert is that you had bridges and stuff, and you could actually destroy the bridges while the other guy was on it. Like, imagine how cool it is when this big Protoss army, like, what? No, not the Protoss army, Zerg army walks across the bridge, and like the Terran drops a nuke. And not only do the units die, but the bridge die, and then all the units die as
Like
well.
no path can get past there.
Yeah, no, like on a certain moment, I think that if you are on a certain point of the map and it collapses, that you lose the units that are on the
So
spot.
like manipulatable terrain,
Yes,
basically.
I
That's a cool idea.
Or like for instance, like we have rocks that right now if they fall, the units die, but you can take that to the next level. Create rock avalanches.
Destructible bridges. Put it in, Dustin Browder. Our last topic, because we got to move on, we're running out of time, is CLG has been reported that they are interested in StarCraft II. They are a top League of Legends team competing in the LCS in North America, and their manager, Kelby, has publicly discussed, should we start picking up players in regards to WCS? Now, we played Fantasy Pro League, guys. Let's play Fantasy CLG and pick up a player from each region. If CLG were to pick up an NA player, they should pick up blank. Ben.
I'm going to go with the guest I had on my show last Wednesday, Kane, hovering around rank 1 Grandmaster on the North American ladder. If you're going to restrict it to North American players, you might as well go to the top. And Kane is one of the best, if not the best, teamless players in the world right now.
Cool. If CLG were to pick up an EU player, Kev, they should pick up...
Well, it depends a lot. If you focus on the players that are not contracted yet, obviously Grubby is the first guy that jumps to everyone's mind because he's such a big personality, but Grubby also really loves being individual. So if you talk about a more unknown player, but who perhaps has a great future, I really like Minato, and I know that a lot of players probably won't even know him, but he's a Ukrainian Zerg player, and I think he might be the next big thing to come out of Ukraine.
Cool. So we have 2 players. Let's hit a couple of other regions. If CLG were to pick up a Korean player, they should pick up blank.
Easy
Ben.
answer has to be Polt. Everybody is very aware of the fact that Polt is one of the best Terran players in Heart of the Swarm, period. He's living in North America. That actually gels really well with what we know CLG wants. They want somebody to live in their house in California, so Polt will be a great fit for that team and for any team for that matter.
If CLG were to pick up a C player, an SEA player, they should pick up blank. Kev.
Without a doubt, Moonglade, even though I do think that Pick, the other Zerg player from the Southeast Asian region, is also really good, so big shout out to him. But I still think Moonglade is without a doubt the best. And we always see him go tournaments. He always does better than we think he's going to do, but then just not barely enough because he's out on map score or runs into the best player in the tournament.
It happens to him all the time.
That's terrible, bro.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yes, he's really, really unlucky in those big tournaments.
Like,
but
I'm 7-2 in the group, but I'm out on map score. Like, what?
No, he's without a doubt a guy that I would really love to see once living in the North American scene for 6 months straight.
Cool. Now that we have our CLG global team, and it's our fantasy team, the team that we should pick, because assuming that we own the team, for a good opening show match that we have a very strong likelihood to beat is blank. Kevin.
Strong likelihood to beat?
Yes. This is to make
I don't
us
know,
look
like
good.
if I would like start with a team, I would always try to get a show match against EG, man. Those guys, they have a hammerlock on the entire popularity market. I'm sure if you look at the streamers right now, you have those 4 or 5 guys streaming again. Together they reach out to 25,000 people on any given day. That's amazing. So I would always try to get EG. If you would beat him with this team, maybe not yet. I mean, Polt, yes, but the other guys, I mean, that's a little bit of a mixture, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's kind of 50-50 with the other guys.
Yeah.
Of course, I agree with Kevin. If you're trying to make a name for yourself, you go after the elephant in the room, I guess, which is the Evil Geniuses, the biggest organization in eSports. Pretty much hands down. Well, you might argue Navi if you want to get into other eSports, but EG is huge, and that's who you want to target if you want to say, hey, I'm here.
That's a great way to wrap it up. I have to give you guys both big points for being able to play very well, as giving good examples as well as good evidence for your picks. Guys, that we're done with Blank My Life. That means we're done with round number 2. After everything's been said and done, Ben is barely in the lead, 700 points to 685, but round 3 will be really fun. It's Take a Stand. We're talking about WCS and Blizzard when we come back. This is the Sunday Pulse. Don't go anywhere.